Morning. Are you coming in then?
Good morning, and what a show we've got lined up for you today. We really have. The headlines this morning are that I'll be joined in the house for the first time by ITV newsreader Lucrezia Millerini will be here. And my very good friend Leslie Walters will be back as well. She'll be dropping by sharing a stunning chicken recipe for us. And we've got incredible cocktails all the way from, your favourite barman, first date superstar Merlin Griffiths will be here. And don't miss this week's little masterclass where we're showing you how to cook with confidence with clams. And that's not all, because I'm also joined in the house by a good friend, and his tales are almost as good as his food. It's the one and only Paul Rankin.
Morning.
Good to have you, Chief.
Yeah,
good to have you as well. So welcome back as well.
Yeah, thank you.
I feel like these people tuning on of a certain age with Leslie, it's going to be like a ready, steady cook reunion, isn't it?
Well, from the last programme, there's a huge response that people... It was almost like the gang is back together again, and they'd love to know all the mischief we were getting up to.
There's
but
plenty.
we couldn't possibly tell them.
No, not certainly on a Saturday morning anyway.
No.
So what are you going to be cooking for us then?
I'm cooking a really old dish of mine.
Right.
I'd been living in California for a couple of years. I came back. I brought all that love of spicing and the freedom to do whatever I wanted.
Okay.
So it's blackened monkfish with curried aubergine.
Wow, nice.
And it used to be on the restaurant menu. I haven't cooked this for donkeys.
Is that like Asian flavours or not? No. Not really.
Well, of course, the curried aubergine is Asian flavours, but it's almost like a French-style curried aubergine, so it's quite simple. And then the blackened thing is it's a sort of New Orleans type thing.
It's really good. Yeah, I've been there.
It was quite big when I was in the States. They do blackened catfish and stuff.
Yeah.
Blackened, Cajun chicken, all that sort. So it was all quite new back in the day, 30-odd years ago.
Good, so we're going to bring that to the kitchen table now.
And I've got a tale about it as well.
Yeah, you've always got tales about it. Anyway, but kicking things off today, a little bit closer to home, not in California. I'm going to make the most of these amazing cobnuts and walnuts that we've got in front of us over here. Because I'm going to introduce you to an amazing supplier in a minute from Kent. But I'm going to start off by talking about this recipe. So we're going to do this simple little recipe. So this is chicken with cobnuts. But the whole thing about this is the crust of it as well. That's where I'm going to use the nuts. So the crust comes in the form of some white bread. And you just take the white bread like this. You don't need to do anything fancy. You can take the white bread like that. You take some lemon, and you use the lemon peel. And I want this sort of umami flavour from the lemon, but also I'm going to get it from a few more ingredients over here. So the lemon goes in. The capers go on. The anchovy, they're going on as well. So just some anchovies over the top. Then we can take the oil of this over the top of that. And then what you want to do is just bake this in the oven until it dries. So it's only going to be about sort of 10 minutes.
Oh, wow.
At the same time as that, we're then going to take our chicken. We're going to season up our chicken pieces, so good amount of salt and pepper, and then start to colour these in the pan with a good knob of butter that's going to go in there.
I do love a chicken leg. Do you prefer the breast or the leg?
I like... people always go for the breast, don't they? But the leg like this is just simply cooked. So you've got a nice bit of colour on the chicken breast like that and chicken legs. They're going to go in here. We're going to utilise this crust to go over the top. So that will go into there. And I'll fast forward to that in a second. I'll just quickly wash my hands. Because the crust, when the bread comes out, you end up with this. This is the crust that I've got over here. So this is the dry bread, the anchovy, the capers, the lemon. And then we're going to take this...
So that's already quite crusty,
Yeah, it's dry. So a little bit of colour on it, doesn't matter. And then we're just going to blend this and make this sort of fine, because the texture's going to come from these amazing nuts as well in there. But once we get to that stage, then to add a little bit of colour into this, I can grab some parsley. I'm just going to grab some fresh parsley and take that and shove that in the mixer as well. So then I'm going to chop the nuts, and then I'm going to top this chicken. But first of all, what you've got to do is cook this chicken first of all. So a little bit of colour on this, nice bit of colour on the chicken. That's going to go in the oven as it is. That'll get roasted off, and I'll cook that separately. And then the idea being, once the chicken's cooked, brush it with mustard and top it with this. So you can see you've got that nice little bit of colour happening over here. But then I'm going to top it with these amazing nuts that we've got on here. So to find out more about where these is, because he's been munching them while I've been cooking
I have.
We're going to head over to Kent to speak to Edward Lade from Nut Farms. Welcome to the show, Edward.
Hello, and thank you.
Now, it's an absolute pleasure having you on the show as well. It's one of these special moments that I think, when we started all this 3 years ago, 4 years ago now, in COVID and that kind of stuff and lockdown, wanted to introduce the general public to all the amazing suppliers we have in this country. And What's great about this is we get several chefs on the show that have never tried this, don't even know where it is, don't even know half the ingredients, and then they come in here, so we're all learning off this as well. So tell me about, where did the passion for it start with you in Kent? Where did that start?
My father planted some walnut trees about 50 years ago, and I started to get interested in nuts and realised that where we are in Kent, some 25, 30 miles from London Bridge, I mean, pretty close, it's a historic, growing hazelnuts or cobnuts is a quite a historic crop, and there's a lot of it still here.
Now, you said the word hazelnuts and cobnuts in one sentence. Am I right in thinking hazelnuts are native, cobnuts are native hazelnuts, is that right?
What I would say is that a cobnut is a hazelnut grown in this country. And then from an allergy point of view, I think it's very important that people understand that cobnut, hazelnut, and the Old English word filbert are all the same thing. Now, actually, cobnut gets its name from a particular variety of hazelnut, the Kent cob, which is a sort of acorn-shaped one. And
which is the one that we got in front of us sort of here. Would that be that one?
It's the one looks a bit like an acorn spade-shaped one.
Yes,
there,
yeah.
And not the rounder one.
Yeah.
And
that one.
What I found is that, I mean, they're a bit of a pain to deal with. You know, they're not round. Mechanical equipment doesn't recognise them, things like that. But dry bake those in the oven, shell them, clean them up, dry bake them in the oven. And you've got the most amazing flavour. I mean, it's just, it's like a chocolate spread, but without the chocolate.
Well, we're talking about flavour as well. And this is one of the fantastic things about meeting people like yourselves, because I thought I tasted amazing sort of, been a pastry chef as well. I've used plenty of walnuts and stuff like that in my career, and cobnuts and stuff like that. Now, I've never tasted anything like these, don't you think?
They're quite unique.
These walnuts. So tell me about, how does this happen? What's the difference in this and the one that you buy from the supermarket?
Well, for a start, they haven't been bashed halfway around the world. And I think if you've got the right varieties of walnut and growing them in the right conditions and you look after them, then they can taste really good. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter where they've come from. Essentially, of all the tree nuts, walnuts have the greatest range of health benefits, particularly the omega-3 and the brain power and all that kind of stuff.
But why do these taste slightly sweet instead of bitter? I've never tasted a walnut anything like that before. If I tasted that blind, I'm not sure I'd know that's a walnut. It's delicious.
I'm so pleased. That's why I enjoy eating them. I mean, I carefully look after them. I harvest them. If possible, I harvest them by hand, but it's an expensive way to do it. But and then I don't care how long they take to dry, but just dry them down. And as you can taste, they're not bone dry, but they're dry enough to keep for a year in the shell. And it's great. I just love them. You know,
so you're
walnuts
harvesting these by hand, but this can't be in just your farm as well. But didn't you start as a young lad? Obviously, your parents introduced you to this, but am I right in thinking you get from the local area as well? You're getting the nuts from the local, including a gentleman who's in his, shall we say, mid-90s, who's got a place next door to you.
That's it, my neighbour, and he's the largest cobnut grower in the UK on one site, and he's got 700 walnut trees. And so, because of his age, I help him, and that's principally where most of the walnuts come from. But the Kent cob, that traditional variety, I'm harvesting those from other neighbouring farms as well. I'm very concerned about provenance. I want to know where they're coming from, you know, how the trees have been looked after. And some of these trees I'm working with are really old.
Is it like an orchard or is it like a forest?
It's more of a farm. I mean, you know, some of his rows are quarter of a mile long. I mean, it's, you know, it's big stuff. And he mechanically harvests, so he's got a nut harvester, which sweeps most of them up, and it can sweep up the walnuts as well. Yeah, it doesn't really make that much difference to the flavour whether it's hand harvested or I don't think. But just to work with, I just find now. I prefer the hand harvested ones, but no, I don't know. I'm learning all the time.
Well, we're all learning over time as well, because the amazing thing is with this, it's a bit like when you taste a radish from a supermarket.
Yeah.
And you taste a radish from the garden. The first thing that hits you is moisture, pepper, abundance of flavour. You don't get that.
Life force as well.
It's really weird. And when you taste that, you must think, well, what are they doing with it? What are they putting on the walnut? Is it what type of walnuts? Are they just doing it because it's intensive farming, or they're producing that? The quality. The first thing I taste when I taste this, the first thing it tastes the moisture. Now you're not drying this out as much as sort of a supermarket nut as well.
No, the stuff that gets sent over from California or whatever is pretty much bone dry, I think, and that affects the flavour. It may be that the aggressive drying gives it the bitter aftertaste. I really don't know, but I find the consistency is not very good. Whereas if you just, the important thing is to just dry it down enough so that it'll keep and store. I'm not interested in shipping them off elsewhere, abroad or anything like that. I can, my customers and I can eat as much as I can harvest.
Well,
really.
You're saying that, but whereabouts do you find it? Whereabouts are you going with this? Are you going to sort of farmers markets? Whereabouts are you selling your wares?
I'm really very delighted to be in London's best Saturday farmers market, which is 3 minutes walk from Sloane Square Underground. And then I do other markets as well. I've done Borough and really it's through the website, I think, as well. So, but I'm just trying to do more with these nuts. So just let me show you, because I think very few people know nowadays what these things are.
Yeah.
And they're not, people aren't really prepared to be cracking nuts. So the more you can do with the nuts that you grow, particularly if they're as tasty as that, then the more likelihood is that industry and there's still some reason to carry on growing them.
So if anybody wants to sort of fall in love with it like you did as a kid, and you're walking around sort of the garden centres and stuff like that, looking for nut trees as well, because it's got me started. It's got me thinking I should be growing stuff like this in my garden as well if I get the chance. So what am I looking for? What is if I'm going to grow a cobnut, what is the one that I want to look for? Something authentic from this country. What would I choose?
Number one is you want two different varieties. Okay, so you want them grafted varieties from a known supplier. And if you wanted the lovely flavour and that of the historic Kent cob, then, yeah, you want to buy a Kent cob. But you also need to buy another variety as well, because they don't self-pollinate. So, you need some of each so that they pollinate. And the same is true with walnuts as well.
There you go. Didn't know that, you see.
I've just tasted the Cobnut oil, which is lovely. It's got a slight sweetness to it. Do you press that yourself, or do you have to
cold press it? Yeah, it's a bit easier to do than the walnut oil, but the Cobnut oil is the great thing about that is its versatility, because it'll take the heat.
Wow.
So
Edward, honestly, I've never tasted stuff like this, as in this produce like this.
And the provenance, and this is what as British chefs and Irish chefs, we want stuff like this. You should just go rap on all the chefs' doors and say, hey, mate, you ought to be buying this stuff.
Well, hopefully I've done it justice, because we've got, just to recap over here, I was told of what you were saying, but we've got a chicken which I've just basically cooked, and then you brush it with some Dijon mustard, and then I've coated this with the crumb that we've got. So that's your crumb with the bread, and I've just added some parsley. I've chopped up the walnuts and the hazelnuts in there as well. The sauce, I've just finished this off with a little knob of butter and so the mashed potato I've just cooked to normal. We've got sauce over here. I'm going to finish this off with a little bit of this. You've got walnut oil. Yeah. Tiny little bit of walnut oil just to finish this off as well. This is amazing in dressings as well. Absolutely useful. But just a little bit of this warmed up. Now, hopefully, Edward, you can see this. Hopefully I've done your produce justice, because I think it's lovely, this, whether you cook it with the legs and stuff like that. But a little bit of butter, some salt and pepper. This is the liquor that I had from the chicken left over, that I put some cream in there as well. I'm going to finish that off, and I'm going to put the walnut sauce with it as well. But there you have a simple little dish. So before we go, I wish you all the very best of luck with it. As next time I'm over in Kent, I'll come and visit.
Thank you so much.
Take care, Edward. Thank you very much. How good was that, you see? Easy as that. So there we have it. My roast chicken with a nice little crust of cob nuts and walnuts with a simple little sauce and mashed potato. Done. Yay! Yeah. Chef,
send it over.
You see, I love dishes like this, but most importantly, I love your face when you taste ingredients like that. Because this is what's food all about, isn't it? You never stop learning in this game.
Honestly, it kind of swells your heart a little bit, you know, when you think, oh my goodness, that's on our doorstep.
But also when you taste it, you think, what have I been doing all my life?
Yes.
Why have I not seen that before, you know? Super tasty.
Big flavours and that's delicious.
But nice. The sauce is really nice. And it's simply cooked.
It's kind of mysterious, but it's familiar at the same time. I really like the kind of anchovy, caper, saltiness, umami, that lemon thing that's coming through in the crust.
Goes well with the cabbage as well. Happy with that?
Oh, more than happy.
Good. Good start to the show as well. Paul will be cooking for us a little bit later on as well. And we've got a dish of mackerel for newsreader Lucrezia Millerini. That's coming up very shortly. But see you after the break, when we're off to Spain on another one of my food adventures. See you in a bit.
That is delicious, man.
Welcome back. Now, coming up, I'll be enjoying a recipe from Chef Paul Rankin and newsreader Lucrezia Millerini. We'll be enjoying a first course of mackerel very shortly. But before that, I thought I'd take a look at some of the dishes you've been making at home. And these are special this week. As first up, a big well done goes to Philip Lowe, who recreated that pork dish that Jose Pizarro made on the show a few weeks ago. I remember that so well. Cooked it medium rare as well. When you got pork that good as well, it's really, really good. Next up, we've got a photograph from Claire Sherratt, who's just down the road in Winchester, who had a go at that chicken pie. This was probably one of the most popular masterclasses that I did. I did it on the show a few weeks ago, but how good does that pastry look? The chicken you cook whole, and you cook that with water and aromats, and you use the liquor from the chicken once you've ripped it all apart to make the sauce. And that all gets mixed together, topped off with pastry, done, with a little bit of water chestnuts in there as well. And finally, top marks this week goes to Jill Ward, who made this platter of fish and chips. Now, I'm liking this one. She's getting full marks from me because she's put some proper white sliced buttered bread on the side for the chip butties. How good does that look with mushy peas as well? OK, it's time now for another recipe. We're heading off to Spain again for another one of my food adventures. This week, my travels are taking me back to Cordoba in Andalusia, where I'm visiting a restaurant of one of the city's greatest chefs to sample his famous recipe for oxtail. Enjoy this one. I'm in Cordoba in northern Andalusia, famous for its diverse cultural heritage and flavoursome Moorish cuisine. So far, I've certainly noticed the influence on the local food. One of the things that I've noticed on restaurant menus around Cordoba is oxtail. So I've got a meeting with a rising star of the food world. He's the new kid on the block, the top chef around these parts, and he's going to give us a little masterclass in how it's made. I'm meeting Chef Juanjo Ruiz and his team at Casa de Monolete, which is named after its previous owner, who happened to be one of the greatest bullfighters of all time. Often sliced into chunks and braised for maximum richness and flavour, oxtail is a proper restaurant classic. And Juanjo has revived an almost forgotten method of cooking it, as well as adding his own twist, of course. Chef. I love this kitchen. This is amazing. It's a working kitchen. It's beautiful.
It's so beautiful, and you work very easy.
Beautiful. You've got a beautiful view.
Exactly.
No wonder you're smiling, cooking.
No, this is a dream.
Tell me about this dish, then. This is a very, very traditional dish.
Exactly. This is one of the most popular dishes from here, from Córdoba. It's a recipe that is... The people forget this form of preparing the oxtail.
The skill is the delicate removal of the meat from the lengthy tailbone, an intricate and time-consuming job.
You need more or less a half hour because you need to looking for all
these little bits.
Exactly. Yeah. And 1 hour more or less later, later, you have...
After 1 hour?
Exactly.
Right, okay.
Because it's so difficult, no? Here is the ability of the cuisinier, of the chef.
When I was thinking of this stew, I was thinking it's cut like oxtail.
Normally, all this collagen
Yeah.
is in the water.
Okay.
So you have other texture in the sauce.
The reason why he's doing this is doesn't want the sauce to overpower with the gelatine that's in the bones. Once the bone has been delicately removed, Juanjo lines it with some lightly cured Iberico ham, before adding a stuffing with some rather interesting ingredients.
This is a farsa that made with the higadito, with foie gras and the blood of the bull.
What's quite interesting is this all came about through bullfighting, first of all.
Exactly.
It was a way to use the entire carcass. I'm sure Manolete himself would be proud to know it's still been served from his beautiful former home. And now it's time for a bit of spice.
Just a little of pepper.
Can I just stop you? The first time I've seen pepper used in the entire trip in Spain.
Yes?
You?
No, in Spain. I don't know, but here is so popular.
Cloves.
This is an Arabic influence.
Right,
so
okay.
give this, no more.
With the stuffing in, it's time to roll and tie to hold it together whilst cooking. Look at that.
So perfect. And here you are.
Once that's done, he adds olive oil to a deep roasting pan and browns the meat, before whipping out a bottle of wine. Now, this is more like it.
This is a wine from here, from Córdoba. The name is Amontillado, have 25 years.
So it's not like a sherry? No, it's not.
It's similar, it's the same family.
Okay. 1 glug for the dish, and 1 glug for us.
With this, here in Córdoba, people take the cup here.
Oh, you do it like that?
Like a torero.
Sorry, local?
Exactly.
Tourist.
It's incredible. Huh? It's strong, man.
It is strong. It's sherry-like, but not as strong. And now there's a hefty glug of red wine. My kind of dish. So bay leaves go in, cloves are going in. Then it's the veg, onions, leeks, carrots, tomatoes, and a sprig of rosemary. I can already tell this is going to be incredible. I look forward to tasting it. I'm going to have a look around.
Okay, perfect.
Juanjo's restaurant is as impressive as his kitchen. The attention to detail is extraordinary and reflects the ties to its bullfighting heritage. These chairs, the backs are leather, bull hide, and the fronts are the inside of a matador's cape and jacket. It certainly doesn't feel like it's been 3 hours before the oxtail arrives. Wow. And after a final bit of prep to remove the string and pull apart the meat, add the sauce, and it's simply served with confit potatoes. They're basically posh chips, so it's beef and potatoes, but like I've never had before.
Enjoy.
Gracias. Well, the first thing you can smell is the alcohol which is cooked in. I love treats like this. Yeah, that's brilliant. So many times when you taste oxtail and particularly this type of thing, it can be heavily, heavily thick. This is not, and that's the key to that, is taking that bone out. It's an awful lot of work. The whole thing just works. This is just delicious. It really is. It's really clever. It appears simple, but it isn't. And that's the art to it. To make things look easy. And they're not. What a fantastic city, amazing restaurant, beautiful kitchen, and brilliant chef. There you go. Still to come, we've got a recipe on the way from Chef Paul Rankin, and the genius barman Merlin Griffiths will be sharing some summer cocktail ideas for us a little bit later. But I'll see you here after the break in a couple of minutes. We're whipping up an amazing mackerel dish for ITV's newsreader, Lucrezia Millerini. See you in a bit. Welcome back. Now, a good friend, Leslie Waters, will be showcasing her skills in the kitchen a little bit later, and top barman Merlin Griffiths will be looking ahead by mixing up some amazing summery cocktails very shortly. But first, I'm here with a journalist who's used to making the headlines on ITV News at 10 and has popped up everywhere from Dancing on Ice to the games and now appearing in my kitchen table. It's Lucrezia Millerini.
Hey!
Great to have you on the show.
Thank you.
Great to have the show. Ching, ching.
Oh,
ching,
this
ching.
is... I was going to say, you listed all the shows there, but this might be the best.
You reckon? Well, we haven't done anything yet.
I know, but I get to drink booze and eat food and talk to you.
Well, we haven't done anything yet, but
So-
I'm going to cook for you, because there's a list of tons of food that you love anyway, because I know Italian background, love your food as well.
Yeah.
So I thought with this one, we wouldn't do Italian, we wouldn't do something classic. I'd do teriyaki.
Okay,
So
yeah.
teriyaki fish, but fish done slightly differently, with some leeks. So these leeks over here, what you do is you just take the leeks on the barbecue and just pop them straight onto the coals, as they are.
Just like that?
Just put them straight onto the coals, as they are, and you blacken the leeks. And then we're going to do a little pickle with it as well. We're going to do some pickled cucumber with a nice little bit of rice wine vinegar, some sugar and a little bit of salt. That's that one. And the teriyaki sauce is done with, so this is the pickle. We've got some sugar. We've got some vinegar and we've got a little bit of salt. That's for the pickled cucumber. The teriyaki, we've got some gluten-free.
Yes.
So I know you're gluten-free.
Thank
Gluten-free soy, that goes in there. Together with some rice wine vinegar, a pinch of sugar, and we basically boil that up, and that's the glaze to go with it. So first of all, where do I start with you, really? But the news has changed so much, hasn't it, over the recent years?
I don't know.
Social media and all that kind of stuff, it's changed the format of the way news is. But I got the feeling, you know, over the last sort of 4 or 5 years, news became a little bit like Coronation Street. You switch it on thinking, what on earth's going to happen this time, you know, with COVID and everything else?
I think there has been that. I think during the pandemic, you know, I think news became really important during the pandemic, didn't it? Especially at the beginning. We didn't know what was going on. We didn't know what was happening.
But then what was that with you in the newsroom? Because it's a movable feast, a changing feast.
Us in the newsroom?
Well,
Me
I'm
in
just
the
saying,
newsroom?
Well, I'm just saying about, you know, because the internet now, the first time it leaks, I suppose, is social media.
Yeah.
And then, I suppose, for you have to fact-check everything.
Everything, yeah. It's
that's
really
quite
important.
difficult.
I think that is more important now than it's ever been because, you know, we're a trusted news organisation, we're a trusted outlet, and when there's so much flying around, there's so much on, I want to say Twitter, it's not that, it's X now, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, so many, you have to be really, really careful, and I think that's what will ultimately make us stand out from other places where people might get their information.
Exactly.
Let's put it that way.
But can I go back to your childhood as well?
Let's go back. My childhood. Wow.
Yeah, because you know, journalism wasn't at the forefront of it really.
No.
It was the law was the big thing.
Well, kind of. Well, there was a part of me that kind of grew up watching, and funnily enough, I grew up watching ITV News. And I wanted to do that. I wanted to be a reporter, but I didn't really understand the mechanisms of how to become one or how to do it. And then I started watching LA Law. And then I was like, oh, but actually I want to be a lawyer.
Right.
And I wanted to be the kind that got up and spoke in court. And over in the UK, that's being a barrister. So that's kind of what I did.
But it was a defining moment for you, wasn't it? Did you? We were on holiday and not. I mean, properly fell off a balcony.
Yeah, well, the balcony collapsed kind of beneath me and my boyfriend at the time. It was quite a few years ago. So it was, the balcony went, we went falling, and this was in Greece on an island. And luckily, we had health insurance and travel insurance and that kind of thing. So we got airlifted to Athens. And but the best part was there'd just been an earthquake in Athens. So we were kind of left at this hospital that was already pretty much inundated. So it was quite a traumatic event, but also served as a bit of an epiphany for me, as I always say. And I just thought, you know what? You could have died. Let's pursue the thing that you kind of wanted to do originally. And took about a year off.
And how did you...
Had a bit of travelling.
I don't know how to change the subject from that, nearly dying off a balcony, but into a leak. But look, I've just barbecued the leaks like that. So
Yes.
I'm going to get onto the fish in a minute.
Yes.
But how do you go about that then? Do you then study back into journalism?
Making that transition. Yeah, well, like I said, I had the law degree, which was great background. I did the bar as well. Didn't get my rights of audience, so that means I had to do a pupillage to get that.
Right.
So I'm a barrister on paper. And if you quiz me now on the law, please don't, because it has been a while. Anyway, so I had a year out, went a bit travelling, fell off another balcony, which is not a lie. This is in Cape Town in South Africa. It was it was a collapsing balcony as well, but there were many more people on it. But I was, again, luckily fine. But then I did a postgrad in broadcast journalism. Yeah, so...
And then how do you... I mean, the ultimate goal is the news. I'm presenting the news as well. But how do you go about getting a job like that? Because people ask me about cooking on TV. You kind of...
It's not
There's
easy.
no training for it. You just...
No, well, there's no training for it, really. I believe that you have to do it. Like, you have to be in it, and the more you do it, the longer you do it, the better you are.
Journalism, you mean?
I think, and also, just, news reading. I mean, I started off as a reporter. I started off doing straight news, but also entertainment. I was an entertainment correspondent in London for quite a few years. So I've done all the red carpets, loads of premieres, met loads of celebs.
Kept a few of them waiting, I believe, and some of your early career.
I did. Well, it wasn't even that early on, but it was, I kept Meryl Streep waiting on a red carpet. Meryl Streep, of all people, who is, obviously Hollywood royalty.
But that's television, particularly live TV as well. So I see you got one eye on the fish. Look, we've got the fish over here. I've just got to show you this. This is mackerel. And so many times with mackerel, you're told you've got to eat it as fresh as a daisy. Whereas there's a chef called Gareth Ward. He taught me how to do this, and he told me to invest in one of these salt chambers. And basically what you do is you put the fish in there for 3 days.
Wow.
With nothing else, just the salt chamber. And it changes the structure of meat, but it changes the structure of fish as well. It's amazing what it does with fish. And it goes it's really peculiar. You get this moisture, but it's a moisture in a different sort of level, really. And we're just going to take this fish like this, a touch of oil, and then pop it. And
you probably don't have to do much to it, do you?
Nothing else. You don't have to put salt and pepper on it, nothing. And to cook it is really simple. So and often with mackerel, particularly with all fish, really, I suppose, on the barbecue, it can stick quite heavily. So what you do is you just take a little bit of the oil like this, and you just pop the fish straight on it.
I've seen my husband do that.
Just put it straight on the... You've seen that,
He's the cook.
So put it straight on the coals like that, and that sits in there, really.
Oh,
so was it everything you thought it would be, then, your first stint on the news? Because, but you were launched into some serious stories quite earlier on in your career as well.
Yeah, I've done some serious stuff, and that's just the nature of the job, I guess, It's quite a gear change going from entertainment stuff into more anchoring, which... then it's the serious news stories of the day.
And then, of course, now we've got to mention... So I've got the mackerel over here. I'm just going to basically cut this up into a nice little piece with the mackerel. But, of course, now, as we're venturing on later on this year, there are so many things that potentially could happen, that will happen in the news as well. We're talking not just here, but abroad. You think about the big news, I suppose. Big news is election, but both sides of the Atlantic.
Yep, we've got a Trump-Biden rematch.
Yeah.
Who do you think is going to win?
Here, I've got no idea.
Couldn't possibly comment.
Well, you're not allowed to comment, are you, really?
I'm definitely not allowed to. And we don't know when it's going to be either yet, so...
Well, look, I've got that nice little dish over here. So this is so I've got the leeks which have been steamed. These are just the leeks that I've cooked.
Yeah.
I've got the cucumber that's been pickled. Here we take a little bit of the teriyaki sauce that goes with it.
How do you do the cooking and the talking? I don't know how you do it. It's so good.
I can't do that. Like you do the reading. I'm severely dyslexic, and I have this amazing woman called Sam, autocue, who puts stuff on bigger type for me because I can properly read it. But then you just put the little bit of fish on here, and then all I'm going to do is just top this. And this is a few little bits of deep-fried leeks. So we take the leeks, just simply cook it with leeks. These are the little bit of chilli fronds. So they're actually not chilli, they're actually red pepper little fronds.
Oh,
and you just put that on it as well.
So pretty. Look, that's
like
a picture for social media, right? Look at that.
But there we have it.
Lovely.
My lovely teriyaki mackerel with crispy fried leeks, cooked leeks on the barbecue like that, and a little bit of pickled cucumber. Done.
Oh. Wow. Delicioso.
Easy as that?
Wow. You do make it look easy.
Well, there you go. Have a taste of this. First dish of the day.
That looks gorgeous.
Tell me what you think.
I don't want to destroy it. It's too pretty.
Well, I'll tell me what you think. It's
right.
quite interesting, this mackerel, and it's really unusual, this. Gareth Ward taught me this, and it's just when you look at it, the skin... It goes like leathery. It's really... Meat in there is one thing when they say salt aging, but fish in there is just a different thing altogether, particularly on the barbecue. But...
I wore a white top just so I could really get my heel.
You taste that with a mackerel. It tastes amazing. It's amazing. The flavour's just...
Buonissimo.
Right, I'll be serving up Lucrezia's second course at the end of the show, and obviously giving you a masterclass in clams a little bit later. But join us again after the break, when Paul Rankin will be firing up the hubs and working his magic on a piece of monkfish. I'm looking forward to that. See you in a bit. Cue the chaos. Welcome back. Now, coming up, I'll give you a step-by-step guide to cooking with clams in this week's Little Masterclass, and I'll be treating my guest, Lucrezia Millerini, to a cracking dish of roast brill on the bone. That's coming up a little bit later. But first, I've been joined by Chef Leslie Walters. Great to have her on the show. And this feels like a Ready, Steady, Cook reunion, to be honest with you.
It does a bit.
Exactly, because I've got this gentleman to my left who's trying to top trump this in the kitchen for more than 30 years, hasn't he? He's been trying to top trump us. It's Mr. Paul Rankin.
Woo!
Yeah. Great to have you on here. This is quite. People of a certain age will be looking at this is a bit weird, isn't
But
it?
after the last time we were on, we got so many lovely comments about good to see the gang back again and all that. And so we're back again. Bigger and better than
30, well, you were on it slightly before me. You were 30. What was that? It was 30 years ago for me. Was it about 31, 32 years?
Yeah, slightly. You came into the show, what, 2 years in?
2 years in. You were first.
You were first.
I think we should bring it back. You know, it's all like, okay.
Ready, think at 40 minutes, not 20 minutes. So we haven't
changed it to 40 minutes.
Exactly. So we haven't got 20 minutes or 40 minutes.
Okay.
We've got 10. What are we going to be doing?
We're going to be doing blackened monkfish with curried aubergine. Now, this is a dish I used to do back in the early days of my restaurant, Roscoff, when I first came back from California.
So what took you to California, first of all? I mean, obviously, as a chef and travel, stuff like that. Was it... So where were you? Were you working in France, or what were you doing?
No, I was living in Vancouver, and I wasn't very impressed with the food scene. So I thought, where is rural but will have an amazing food scene? Right. I thought, the Napa Valley. Yeah. So I took off in my car. Yeah. I went down and went to see Chez Panisse in San Francisco and da-da-da. But I ended up getting a job in the Napa Valley. And then, you know, as soon as you're living in the States, you start to get all that influence. Yeah. And one of the things that was big at the time was blackened, that sort of Louisiana type thing.
So this is what we're going to be doing, that sort of New Orleans, that kind of stuff.
I brought that sort of influence back, put a sort of Michelin-type spin on it, you know, did it quite carefully, and it was one of the most popular dishes. Now, I want this to cook fairly quickly.
But this kind of cooking they do in New Orleans with shrimp, don't they?
Yeah, they do it with chicken, with pork, etc. I mean,
gator and all manner of different sorts of stuff.
There was a guy called Emeril Lagasse. Emeril Lagasse was a famous New Orleans type chef who did a lot of telly. He was kind of like the Brian Turner of American cookery. And he had this thing where he'd add the spices and he'd go, bam, bam. You know, that's the flavour, bam, you know.
I love that.
So Emeril sort of made it very popular.
So can I just say, I've got the aubergines in here. I've put the chilli and the garlic. You want this in the oven?
Yes, please. In the oven. A little bit of salt, yeah? A
little bit of salt,
A little bit of salt.
In the oven.
So I'm doing 2 fairly small portions so that it cooks fairly quickly.
So the whole idea of this bit is this blackening bit as well.
Yeah, and the reason why I ended up putting it with curried aubergine is that the spices that we have, they're not completely dissimilar to spicy Indian food, if you understand what I mean. So it's an American version. So we've got some dried thyme, oregano, white pepper, black pepper.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have garlic powder, onion powder, cayenne pepper.
Yeah.
And then to that...
And a little bit of Spanish influence as well. So
it's really just layering up the spices, isn't it? Paprika and salt.
Yeah.
And we just need to grind that down a bit because we need the oregano, because I lived in the States.
I say oregano, but, you know, they say...
Oregano over there.
Oregano,
vitamin, tomato, potato.
You say potato,
that smells like New Orleans, which we've got in here as well. So you've got that amazing sort of smell from that. If you smell that, it's like...
Oh, wow, yeah.
Lovely, isn't it?
So, you know...
Not too powerful, but powerful enough.
I wonder, was I the first person ever to do, like, Cajun chicken in the UK? Because when I did my cafe, I did Cajun chicken sandwiches and stuff like that.
You want some ginger in there as well, or not?
Not
in the sauce?
In the sauce. A little bit of ginger in the sauce, yeah. So, now what we do here is we actually roll it in the spices.
Lovely.
So in there you've got the trim from the monkfish.
Yeah.
You've got the ginger and you've got the shallots. Do you want some wine in there?
Give it just a second, then we'll put some wine in.
Okay.
We've got all day, don't we, James? So one of the reasons why I'm doing this is that I've got a story.
Not another story.
I was visiting a mate in London, and I get invited to another mate's house for dinner. They have the big family dinner, and I go in for dinner, and he's cooking blackened monkfish with curried aubergine. And I'm going to tell you his name. It's Vincent from Fulham. All right, Vince, boy, the recipe's thief. The recipe's thief. And I'm like, Vincent, is that my recipe? And he goes, what do you mean? I go, I forgot to bring the book along, but I did this recipe in a book called Hot Food, Cool Jazz. Or Hot Food, it was. So it goes into a fairly dry pan so that the spices burn and you get that charred thing. That's part of what this is all about.
Sink there to wash your hands.
Oh, yeah. So Vincent cooks this dish of blackened monkfish with curried aubergine, and he did a fantastic job, better than me almost. Almost. And I'm like, I don't know if it was just serendipity or whether he really did, or whether he was taking the mick, you know?
You've got to be careful with this, don't you, when you blacken in the spices like that?
A little bit. Depends how hot your pan is, yeah.
Can I put some coconut milk into this?
Is that reduced enough?
That's reducing down with white wine.
We want...
that's what that is. that's the toasted spices in there.
Yeah, and that's what it's supposed to be like. Yeah. So we're going to put
that in the oven.
We're going to put it.
Gonna put that in the oven.
Whack it in the oven, okay.
It's great that. Yeah, that goes straight in there. Yeah.
A little bit of curry powder. Did we put any curry in with the aubergines?
Yes,
yet?
I put it in. Yes.
So. Okay, we're nearly there.
So we've got some coriander. So the fish doesn't want only a couple of minutes in the oven. That's all it needs, isn't it? Really, in a nice hot pan.
Yeah. Monkfish. Sometimes you want to rest it.
Oh yeah.
So maybe we'll just go out in the garden for a wee while, or
what? And pick some wild garlic like you've done.
I picked that yesterday.
I know you did.
Yesterday.
I'm
I do this
impressed.
naked foraging thing, almost
Do
like
you?
forage
What time
bathing.
do you do that then?
You've got to watch out for
Whoa! Stop this a minute. You do what?
naked foraging. It's like forest bathing. You know, you can really feel the energy of the forest.
Yeah.
You got to watch out. You got to watch out for nettles. I'm quite famous. People say, "Look, there goes Rankin with his big
His dotly
feet and his long hair."
You go.
No, I do not think naked foraging. No, I try and get out for a walk every day because I love that connection with nature, you know? And it's so beautiful, especially, you know, it's sort of early summer now and things are really... They've got
This is my favourite time of year.
You know, and...
Promise of summer.
We're looking forward to strawberries and peas and all that sort of thing, you know? And those are flavours. That nature thing is so beautiful, so magnificent.
Right, so I put some coriander in the aubergine.
So how do I make this work again?
There you go.
I just need to take that down slightly. Quite small leaves of wild garlic. I wouldn't normally do this. It's just I was out and I saw it and da-da-da-da-da. And then I've got some wood sorrel to garnish. I was going to use coriander, but there's so much of this around. It's kind of like shamrocks. And they arrive around St. Patrick's Day.
I'm just envisaging you picking that naked in the woods.
And the nettles and going, oh!
It's a view that I can't ever forget.
I'm not going to be able to sleep tonight.
No, sleep. It's going to leave me scarred for life, that.
Right. Okay, so this is quite a casual dish, really.
Right, there you go.
So
that's hot. It's hot.
Yeah. Is there a big spoon?
Big spoon, yeah. I'll get the monkfish out for you. Wow, look at that.
Oh, wow, that looks so beautiful. That looks so gorgeous, isn't it?
Perfect, that, Chief.
Juicy Lucy.
Yeah, nice.
Turn it off, yeah.
So, you know, you could put, if you want to make this easier, you can put it in a little timbal.
That's too chefy. Timbal, that's
Timbal?
too...
No, but it makes it easy. You know what it makes it easy for? Is if you've got a dinner party and you just go boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
And then it stays fairly sort of together. And I can't believe my mate Vince nicked this dish. And then I forgot to put the... I forgot to bring the book along to prove that it's mine. So the beautiful curry sauce.
Oh, wow. Look at that.
And then just garnish with a little bit of some Belfast wood sorrel.
Oh.
Just for a wee bit of tang. You know, in the old days I would have used, you know, coriander or micro coriander or something like that.
Happy with that?
But that's it. Blackened monkfish with curried aubergine.
Foraged. Shamrock.
You're
easy. Done. Paul Rankin, everybody. Bon appetit.
Oh,
bam!
Thank
There's your BAM flavours of the blackened monkfish.
Wonderful.
I love the sort of glazy crust on the outside. It's got a kick, but not too much.
That's nice. Nice spice. Great there.
Oh,
Paul Rankin, everybody. That's a masterclass in its own.
I enjoyed it. It's like a blast from the past.
It's great. I enjoyed cooking it with you as well. And we've got a masterclass in clams coming your way very shortly. And also, I'll be treating newsreader Lucrezia Millerini to a slap-up lunch a little bit later on this morning. But join us again after the break when Leslie, Paul and I will be heading outside for a taste of summer cocktails from the one and only Merlin Griffiths will be here. See you after the break.
Sounds dangerous, doesn't it?
Lovely.
Welcome back. Now I'll be chatting some more to newsreader Lucrezia Millerini later on this morning. We've got a masterclass in clams in store for you in just a few minutes. But before all that, I'm outside with Paul and Leslie. We're about to look forward to some more cracking drinks from a man who's a walking, talking encyclopedia of cocktail knowledge. It's the brilliant Merlin Griffiths.
Thank you. Love to see you.
Yeah, we'd love to see you as well. Before you crack on, what are you going to be doing?
Excellent. So, I am looking ahead at summer at the moment, hence wearing yellow today. And so, at my house, I think there are 3 great occasions in a day in which you'd like a cocktail. One is a little aperitivo around lunchtime, which is where we're going to start, with a beautiful floral drink.
So where is this from then? Where are we going in the world? Is this?
This is going to be resolutely English because we're going to do a gin-based aperitivo. You think normally a gin and tonic, okay?
Yeah.
I'm just going to do something slightly different here. I want to use a flavoured gin, so we're going to use a grapefruit and pomelo flavoured gin. There are several available out there.
Yeah.
Where is it? Here we go. With some fresh lime and a little Cointreau, just to sort of mellow it out.
Okay.
Does it really taste like grapefruit? Has it got a good grapefruit
It's got a fantastically fresh and zesty flavour. And as I say, there are quite a few to choose from these days.
That's quite a lot of gin for this time of the day.
Well,
This is just for lunchtime. This is just for lunchtime, Mr. Rankin.
See if we can get a shot of Paul and Leslie falling off their chairs.
Sounds like my sort of cocktail.
But it's not just... I mean, this year's busy for you because you've just opened the pub, but also you're doing an amazing thing for charity as well. Stand Up for Cancer, you're doing this amazing bike ride.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Land's End John O'Groats.
Are you a proper cyclist then as well?
Well, I used to be a proper cyclist.
Oh, yeah, well, you know what
I've now got to become one again.
It's fantastic. You just need to take a flask of that cocktail with you and you'll be fine.
or open a pub, you'll get fit.
yeah, exactly. Right, so we're going to give that a quick raffle.
So you don't put any of the tonic in it, or you...
Well, instead of tonic, you spotted it. We're going to use a rose lemonade. Oh. So we've got these beautiful floral flavours. This is something fresh and fragrant.
You know, it's almost like a chef building up flavours.
This is what I love about. But you're teaching people the art of barmanship. Did you call it barmanship? What do you call it? Bartending. What do you call it?
Bartending.
Bartending. Yeah. You're teaching the younger generation that, though, are you?
Yes, that's right. Yeah. Well, yeah. Now we've got the pub open and we've got staff. We do a few mixed drinks there as well. It's not just beer and not just beer and sandwiches.
Right.
Basically.
So this is your rose lemonade that's going there as well.
That's right. So there you have a beautiful rose garden spritz.
That looks
nice
so pretty, doesn't it?
A little wedge of
Goes
lime
with your
over
shirt,
the top.
James.
Exactly. But the key to this is the taste of this, because this. What do you do with the straw?
Please. You can have a straw, no straw, completely up to you.
There you go. I'll put
There
that
you
one
go.
there.
A straw?
Ladies sometimes like a straw, I think, because
No,
lipstick.
don't
No,
give me a
No,
straw.
Leslie's
no,
not.
no, no. All right.
Leslie, I don't like 30 years. A bigger glass is what usually is, isn't it?
I shall bear that in mind.
There you go.
Thanks for getting him in, James.
There you go. And it's a lovely colour. Look at this. It's bright. It's red. Matches your shirt.
I have to say, I do not like gin and tonics, so this is a lovely alternative.
What a difference
for me.
Cointreau does to it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just that little extra orange.
Cointreau is a beautiful liqueur, eh? It's hard to beat the simplicity of Cointreau.
And you know why it's got a
What it
square
adds.
bottle? Because it's oranges from 4 corners of the world.
I didn't know that.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's why.
He's a mind of knowledge.
I told you at the beginning, this encyclopedia, that's what it is. So where are we going now, then? What are we doing next?
So now, I would throw into the afternoon. Now, you've got to bear in mind, summer again.
Is this
Azure
about 2 o'clock?
skies, It's blazing down. About 4 o'clock, the sun is properly blazing down. You know, you're catching a few rays.
Yeah.
You need something big and icy and cold and almost a bit, dare I say, a bit like an ice lolly. So this is a drink that I've modified from the very popular passion fruit martini.
Yeah.
And it's also, interesting enough, this is a first date staple for us as well, and has been for a few years. A drink I call the Sexy Beast.
The Sexy Beast.
After Ray Winston in the movie, where he's lobstered by the pool at the
I
beginning.
thought you were going to say James Martin.
Not me. Right, so what have you got in here? What's this?
So we're going to start with a little vanilla vodka in there.
Vanilla vodka.
Again, a staple of the passion fruit martini. I'm using a Swedish vanilla vodka.
Wow.
Can I smell them?
And a little
Astonishing.
Passoa,
What's Passoa? I've seen this before, but what is it?
Brazilian passion fruit liqueur.
Right.
Rather nice.
What is that? Is that gin based, or is that, what was that? Just
I think it's just neutral grain based.
Right, okay, all right.
Yeah,
Buy that
double
in
check
Tesco.
on there for me.
what is that you're putting in there now?
So you can buy passion fruit syrups in shops.
Did you make that?
I make one. Yeah, I make one, and again, I get a little bit chefy with this one. You know, I adjust it with a touch of lactic acid and a little citric acid in there. We vacuum pack it for a few days and make a syrup.
Wow. Okay.
In a way, you could sweeten it up a little bit and put it in a sorbet machine and make a beautiful sorbet,
Well,
wouldn't
funny
it?
is that if you taste that,
Tastes quite similar.
that's a little bit. There's a pigeon scarer going off in the distance. This is quite. They've got like a syrup, it's sugar syrup, isn't there? It's not sharp. You think that's.
So there's no alcohol
You think that's
in
passion
that, is
fruit, but it's quite sweet.
Yeah. And then all I've done is
It's
take.
quite sweet.
Yeah, very sweet.
Oh, it's quite
and if
exotic.
you're
It's almost like a lolly.
Yeah.
Well, that's what he said.
Very, very much so. And if you're familiar with the ubiquitous passion fruit martinis of today's bars, you'll recognise that flavour. Yeah.
Do we have to finish this one before we get...
What have you just put on there?
Right, so a little passion fruit over the top, a
Right.
sprig of mint, get in there. This
Just look at that.
is wonderful. Oh, there you go.
And what alcohol's in this one again?
So this is
Prosecco
vodka-based, basically. Vodka-based is your main base
Vodka
there.
and
Vanilla
Prosecco.
vodka.
That's a different. That is unbelievable. What?
Right.
How the hell have
Oh
you just
my
done that?
God.
So that's going to be largely the pop in that is down to the syrup. And this is where you use the citric acid and
And the
lactic
Brazilian
acid,
thing's
which-
giving you that sort
Yeah.
of...
If you're going to do that at home, yeah, you can get citric acid. It's often sold as lemon salt. So you can add a pinch of lemon salt in there, right? And that will give it its zing. If you're particularly keen, root out phosphoric acid or lactic acid. Phosphoric acid is the flavour is the zing that gives Coke.
So
it's big.
Just to
up
go
there.
back,
Coca-Cola.
there are 2 drinks you've done on this show since I've known you. This is one of them. The other one you did was when I was in a bar in LA. Cosmonaut, was it?
Cosmonaut, that's right.
What if people are going for a drink in a bar and they're asking for what are they asking for that? Because that is epic.
Basically, you want to ask them for their passion fruit martini with the Prosecco in. Get it served along with crushed ice. You see how people get it with the shot of Prosecco on the side and they pour it in there? It's a similar sort of approach.
So
Just
if you
take it
ask for
along.
a sexy beast, you won't get that. You'll get a James Martin.
Hopefully one day, maybe. Yeah.
In a pink shirt.
Hopefully one day.
I love it.
Get it away from him. I knew it was a bad idea putting him in this item. But anyway, right, where are we going next?
Right, so...
Before he falls off the chair.
Well, exactly. We've made it to afternoon. He's asleep on the side.
Look at me, Mum.
Right.
Granddad's asleep. Yeah,
that's right. We're now going to have a nice big barbecue or a barbie or a braai, whatever you want to call it, but some good grilled meat, I think, is always lovely in summer. And at the end of it, a nice digestif. So we're now late evening, right?
Yeah.
Traditionally, Mexico, you can drink tequila both ends of a meal, or mezcals, both ends of a meal. Sometimes they have it as an aperitif, all right, with a little lime and a little sort of salty, spicy snack of some sort, OK? But you can also do it at the end with a little sangrita. And so I'm going to make a nice sangrita to go with our mezcal.
I've never tasted anything like that.
I can't stop drinking it, but I've got to stop.
It's so complex.
It's
amazing, isn't it?
He's put something secret in it.
But it's looking naughty. He's looking naughty, very naughty.
It's the sherbety bit to it.
Is that what it's? Yeah, that you've got a fizz to it as well, but it's really clever. It's very clever.
But really refreshing as well.
Really clever. So what do you put? Your blood orange in there?
I've got blood orange. Well, yeah, you can use orange juice, but I came across these on the way down, and I thought, well, why not use them? Because they are... You know.
Well, they're bag of season at the moment as well.
Exactly,
blood oranges and grapefruit.
So why would you not? So we've got grapefruit, orange and lime. So I'm building up this triple citrus.
So is this in two parts, this cocktail? Then?
Yeah, that's right. Yes, it's a sip and a sip. So traditionally, sangrita, meaning little blood, in Mexico, was made from the juices of a salad called pico de gallo.
Yeah.
And the juices that you need to strain off before you serve it will be mixed with just a touch of pomegranate to give you a little blood to have alongside your mezcals or your tequilas.
So pico de gallo is your classic fresh tomato Mexican salsa full of chili and stuff in it.
Exactly, yeah. It's got a little chili, onion, doesn't it? Just chili, onion, nice Roma tomatoes that you need for them. You see, they've got those big, rich tomatoes. Yeah. I don't know about you, I struggle to get really good, rich, ripe red tomatoes in the UK. But I'm going to use a little beetroot, because we've got loads of beetroots in the UK. And that's going to give us the nice red colour rather than the tomato.
I love this.
Oh, beetroot cocktail, that'll fly out the door.
You see?
Don't tell them there's beetroot in it.
It sounds counterintuitive, but trust me, it'll work. Right, there we go. I'm just going to pop this into a blender. There you go. We've got our lovely mix there with a little chipotle for smoky flavours.
So this is the powder?
Yeah, I've got powdered chipotles.
Smoked
Which is, if you're not familiar with chipotle, chipotle is dried and powdered jalapenos. Yes, the green chilli when it's left to go ripe on the plant. And then a little beetroot. I've got beetroot juice here. I've juiced this myself from fresh beetroot, but you can...
You can buy it, can't you?
You can. You find it in the superfood section, don't you? You know, with all the other healthy things. That's right.
And why do you blend it and not shake it? Why is that the other way?
Because it's... just because there's some extra pulpy bits from the juice there where I've been squeezing fresh. And I think it just amalgamates it a little nicer. Yeah. There you go. And it just gets a little thicker. Yes, as you've noted, be very careful working with beetroot. It stains everything.
I've been noticing that your mezcal and your tequila look incredibly boutique and expensive, these bottles that you've got here.
I've got... Well, and why not?
Can you taste it in the cocktail, that level of quality?
You absolutely can, Paul. You absolutely can. And I've always said, drink less, drink better. Yeah. Really. I think it's...
Top tip.
Yeah, honestly. There's nothing quite like having a really good spirit. You do it with a whiskey, won't you? You have a really nice whiskey. So why shouldn't you have a really nice...
still drink a lot of it.
So I'm just going to strain a bit into there for you, and there we have it. I've had a little pinch of salt at the end.
So this is just juice.
Yep.
So there's no booze in there.
No booze in this bit, because that's going to be served alongside. So, as I say, it's just a nice sort of 1-2 and a lovely way to wind down at the end of a day.
A little bit more in. I'll put a little bit more in. Go on.
Chuck a little bit more in there.
Time.
Indeed.
So when are you doing this cycle ride? Then when is... Because people can come out and cheer you on. When are you doing this? Is a group of you doing it?
Yeah, there'll probably be about 700 or 800 people on the whole ride, in all fairness. And that will be in September.
Yeah.
We've got our, you can see, sangrita.
That's almost like the antioxidant cure to go with the alcohol.
Well, I was going to say, you see, and when you're...
How's that?
Perfect. When you are dealing with alcohols, I would never claim any health benefits either.
So what are we doing with these two? What is this?
So take your pick. Would you prefer tequila or mezcal?
Is there a worm in the mezcal?
There is not, Paul. There is. This is pechuga. which is a very rare kind of mezcal, and something very interesting. It's distilled with a few spices and herbs in the still, but also, get this, no worm, but a turkey breast.
You're kidding.
I'm not kidding. They distill it with a turkey breast in the still.
You could be making this. I've got no idea. People there going, what a... Just... Right. Really?
Coming round.
How are you supposed to drink this?
So what is the difference between the two of these, then? What is the difference?
Right, so tequilas are 100% Weber Blue Agave, what we commonly think of as a cactus, but actually a member of the lily family. So it's a very specific type of plant, made in a very specific kind of way, and they're also cooked in stainless steel ovens called autoclaves. Mezcals, on the other hand, they'll use a whole variety of agave plants.
Right.
And when they chop them down, they cook them in underground ovens, usually, clay ovens and underground ovens with smoke and fire. So your taste on this, they've got a real smoky flavour to them.
So what do we taste first of these? This...
Either or, completely up to you, but I recommend probably a sip of mezcal followed by a sip of sangrita.
Have I got any more work to do after this?
A little bit.
I got
Sip and sip. But see, this is a wonderful digestive. And as I say, you can imagine this after a big, smoky barbecue.
I can't taste the turkey.
No, you won't.
Why the hell did they put a turkey in it?
I know, it's a very strange thing. It's something old and traditional, and nobody... I've asked a few people who sort of know about these things. Nobody's been able to give me a rational answer.
Tell you what, that followed by that.
Who needs
that on its own?
Who needs
I'm going,
borscht?
well, that on its own, you go, ooh. But with this,
with that,
like cleanses the palate at the same time, doesn't it?
I've got to try
But it's the
it
heat
again.
you get with this. And that's the chipotle chili that you put in there as well. Together a little bit of spice, but...
Yeah.
Wow.
Let's talk turkey.
Exactly.
Exactly.
That's my...
That'll be summer at my house, and you would all be welcome.
That's my...
Exactly. Like he is, and welcome at my house. Brilliant. Merlin Griffiths, everybody. Legend name. And good luck with the bike ride. Good luck with the pub. Exactly. You going to stick around for the rest of the day?
Happily.
Fantastic. OK, Leslie will be treating us to a brilliant chicken recipe a little bit later on. Let's just move this away from her because she's cooking next as well. That's it. And I'll be serving up some roast brill with Jersey rolls and asparagus. Lovely. For Lucrezia Millerini at the end of the show. But see you after the break when I'll be showing you how to cook clams properly. And this week's Little Masterclass. I'll see you then. This is amazing. Game changer. Welcome back now. Chef Leslie Waters has got a chicken recipe in store for us next, and I'll be chatting some more to my fabulous guest, Lucrezia Millerini, at the end of the show. But first, it's time for this week's masterclass, and this week I thought I'd show you how to cook clams, because I know it's something that a lot of home cooks get very nervous about, and they really shouldn't, because these recipes are so simple, and it's really simple to prepare, really. So the first thing we're going to do is, pour ourselves a glass of wine, to be honest with you, because we need two dishes. You do one from Spain, one from Italy. Classic vongole. So first of all, to cook your pasta, plenty of salted boiling water, like that. No oil in the water. Then you take your nice little bit of spaghetti. That's going to go in there. And that's going to just sit in there, and we'll just gradually get that cooking nicely. Follow the instructions on the back of the packet, really. Different pastas take different amounts of time to cook, but that's just going to sit in there, and we're going to cook that nicely. So that's the pasta bit, first of all. So we started off with the clams that we got in here. Now, if you think about clams, you think probably there's only 3 or 4 different types. There's actually 15,000 different types of clams around the world. And some grow to a year old, some grow to 400 years old. Various different sizes as well. If you ever go to the markets, particularly around Spain and Italy, you'll see such a range and abundance of different size clams over here. But in the UK, we've got these things called natives. Pollard, these are called. Often called carpet shell clams, which are these ones over here. These are the 3 that you'll get commercially, really. These ones over here, Manila and American, are another 2 different varieties that you'll get commercially. Then, of course, you can break that down. You've got the razor clams and everything else. But usually just a handful of clams available to you anyway. But these are fantastic. And I'm going to do 2 dishes for this. Like I said, we've got the little vongole over here. But with this one, we're going to visit Spain. And for this, I'm going to do sort of a baked clam dish. Really, really simple. So garlic, we've got some tomato pulp over here. I'll explain what it is. But what we're going to do, first of all, is just take the garlic and chop it up into pieces. This is really quite simple. And I think that's the essence with cooking clams. You can treat them like the French would do a mariniere, really simple, like mou mariniere with cream and a little bit of garlic, that kind of stuff. Or you can just do this as a tomato base. It's really that simple. So I've got some tomato pulp over here. This is just tomatoes that you cut in half, and with a grater, you just grate the tomatoes. You'll see this all over Spain, this tomato pulp. This mixed together with a little bit of garlic and olive oil is your famous little bit tomato bread that you get as well. But we're just going to take our tomatoes like that, the pulp, pour it onto there. There we go. It just creates an amazing, simple little sauce. That's going to go on. In we go with the garlic. Plenty of garlic in either of these dishes, to be honest with you. There. And then I've got some chorizo. So I've got the soft chorizo over here. I've got the firm chorizo. Either way, the one to look out for is picante, which is added paprika. It's a little bit more spice, really. This is where you'll get that amazing oil, that lovely flavour from it as well. So when you do this, just chop it all up like that. And chorizo and bacon, stuff like that, lends itself brilliantly with clams. Not so much with mussels, I suppose, but a little bit. But the clams, really, the flavour of that and chorizo is just amazing. So you just take that and we'll just slice it all up like that. Now, like I said, I've got this one. You can use the soft skin one. It's entirely up to you as well. Either or. But try and not get one that's too dry. That's more like a salami that you're going to use as well. So once you get to that stage, we can put a touch of chilli in. Again, it's purely optional. A little bit of chilli in there, over the top, like that. And then you can grab your clams, like this, and you just pop these on here. Now, the great thing about clams is they're almost available all year round, really. These are from the south coast of the UK, but these really are delicious. They really are. And you just take the clams like that, allow them a little space to open up, which you've got, like that. A touch of olive oil, good drizzle of olive oil. There we go. And then I'm going to grab some salt and some pepper. And then I've set the oven quite high, about 250 degrees, really, for this. So, nice hot oven, because you only want to cook these for between 6 and 8 minutes, something like that, in a hot oven. No more than about 10 minutes, just to allow the clams to open up. So they're just going to go straight in. And once the clams are open, they're going to be done. Meanwhile, over here, I'm just going to swap this over now. So I'll just make sure the pasta's cooking away nicely, which it is. There we go. So I'll just swap that over with that one. And then we can get our basis for our vongole on. So classic vongole, garlic, lemon, chilli, clams, parsley, wine. Really, really simple. And you're going to take the nice little bit of garlic like this. And we do this in 2 parts, really. So you take the garlic, a good glug of olive oil. It's going to go in there. And then just pop the garlic in. Now, I'm not going to colour the garlic. I don't want this to go brown. So while that's just sautéing off, now we're going in with our white wine. That's going to go in. Good glug of white wine. And then take our clams. And these can go straight in. Pop the lid on. And we're going to cook that for about 2 minutes, just till the clams open up. And I'm going to take them out and reduce that sauce down. So while that's happening, I'm going to have a nice glass of this, and you can have a look at the garden. Off you go. See you in a bit. Now, the great thing about this, you want to cook the clams until they just open. So take this off. The clams are now cooked. You can see they've opened up. We're just going to take these out now and then turn up the heat of this. So this is the key to this, is actually creating a sauce out of what we've got in this pan to actually finish off cooking the pasta. So what you don't want to be doing is thoroughly cooking the pasta in that water. You want to finish it off in the liquor that we've got in our pan here. So that's your clams, nicely opened up. And we reduce this down quite rapidly, and this will increase the flavour of this, but the clams are there ready. They can go back in. And just to finish off this, we're going to add some chopped parsley, some chilli and some lemon. So chopped parsley is going to be used for both of them, really, but just a little bit of flat leaf parsley and a little bit of chilli. But I think this is the key to it, really. It's this reduction of this sauce. You get amazing flavour from the clams. Now, they require a little bit more cooking than mussels. So, you know, another a couple of minutes. Mussels will be opened in about a minute, something like that. The clams need probably a couple of minutes max, that's all. But in essence, this is such a simple little dish as well. We've got the chopped parsley over here. Chop that up. And then obviously for a vongole, you can add a little bit of chilli. It's up to you. Green chilli, red chilli. A little bit of spice. I actually don't take the seeds out of a chilli, but I'm going to chop that all up. And then we've got some lemon zest and lemon juice at the end. A touch of that. So there you have that. But it's this reduction, I think, is the key. So take your time on this and make sure this is reducing down nicely. So really crank up the heat and allow that to reduce down. You'll end up with probably twice as much liquid. If you start off with a glass of white wine, you'll end up with probably 2 glasses of liquid. So you need to reduce it down to that single glass. There's actually loads of flavour that comes out of clams and loads of moisture out of this. But I think this is the key, where we take our pasta now, and I'm actually going to finish off cooking the pasta in this liquid. So pop the pasta in, drain it off. Like that. And this is where you get the amazing flavour of that classic vongole, where you get everything cooking in the same pan. Now we can add a little bit of chilli, as this reduces all down. And then I'm going to put the lemon and the parsley and the clams right at the last minute. So it's important not to thoroughly cook the pasta in the salted boiling water, is to actually finish it off in this water. And it'll all start to come together. Finish off the cooking and absorb it all in. Have a little taste. You have to do it this way. You get so much more flavour. So you see this is almost reducing down to next to nothing now, which is what we want. So give it a quick stir again. Looking good. Right, in we go with our clams. That can go in there. In we go with our parsley. And then we can mix this all together. Look at this. Your classic vongole. Turn that off. Such a great dish, this. It really is. And then finally, just to finish this off, a little bit of lemon zest over the top. And a squeeze of lemon juice. Just the final bit. Just to finish that off. And instantly, when you taste this, you'll suddenly realise that's where you get that amazing flavour from as well. When the pasta is cooked in the liquor that you've cooked the clams in. It just tastes totally, totally different. And it's really one of these ingredients that, like many shellfish, people don't really cook in this country that much. You kind of have it when you're on your travels on holiday and everything else, but because you don't know how to cook it. But it's the simplicity of cooking stuff like that is the key. And once you've learned a dish like this, it's one of those dishes you'll keep going back to again and again and again because it tastes absolutely amazing. So there's your little vongole, and that's a little bit of Italy. Now for a little bit of Spain. Because this, you can just lift out. Look at these. These clams lovely and open, look. Just pop open. Such a wonderful little dish, this. Simple, simple cooking. A little bit of parsley over the top. Over the top of that one. And a little glug of olive oil over all of them. And there we have it. Clams, our native clams, cooked 2 different ways, but 2 classic dishes from our European neighbours. Easy as that. Done. Now, if there's anything you'd like to learn about a little masterclass, then do get in touch with me, see if we can help out right here on the show. I love doing those. Time now for a quick break, but join me again in a couple of minutes when we enjoy a sit-down recipe from Mrs. Leslie Walters. I'll see you in a bit. back. Now, we're serving up a show-stopping plate of brill for newsreader Lucrezia Millerini at the end of the show. But first, I'm here with Merlin and Paul. We seem to be having a ready, steady cook reunion mixed together with the barman in there as well, because we're about to taste the dish.
That sounds appropriate.
Exactly. For one who's proud to call her a friend, since I met 30 years ago on TV, it's the fabulous Leslie Waters.
Thank you.
Wonderful to have you on the show as well. You're always full of energy as well. You're coming here like a whirlwind. What are you going to be doing for us? What are you going to be
Well,
making?
we're going to do something really quite classic. We're going to be doing chicken saltimbocca, which is normally done with veal, but I'm going to do it with chicken. We're going to be doing wet polenta.
Nice.
OK, and we're going to be using wild garlic, seeing as that's a theme, to flavour, rather than sage for the saltimbocca.
Well, we're also going to be using wild garlic as well. I'm going to use it.
Today's a wild garlic
Except
day.
I didn't pick it naked this morning like this.
Well, you know. So what do you... So the chicken
I'll send
first...
you pictures later.
so there's the thing. So the chicken breast that you're going to use, so the idea is to get this nice and thin like a veal.
Yeah, like a piece of veal. Try and get it as thin as you can. Now, with all of this, you'll see that I'm doing peppers, or should I say James is doing peppers.
So you can explain to her what we've got in here.
We're going to do a pepper jam, and this recipe is from my best mate, Chrissy French's mum, who was Italian, and she was called Mrs. French. Can you believe that? Yeah. And this is her recipe, and into that we're now going to add... what gives it that sourness is the lemon. We're using an unwaxed lemon here, and we're just going to cut it in half, squeeze it over the peppers with the garlic, and throw the whole thing in.
And that's what gives it the bitterness.
Yeah, it gives it the bitterness, it gives it the sort of sharpness and the perfume of the lemon.
You leave the whole skin.
You leave the whole, so it's important that it's unwaxed.
Sugar?
Okay? Sugar going in, and a bit of chilli, but you can use dried chilli. So then, James, I want a cartouche on the top of that.
Cartouche, we're going old school now.
Did you put olive oil in, darling?
Not yet, not yet.
Right, olive oil going in, and then you just put that on top of a sort of lowish heat. Cook it for about 45 minutes until the peppers are drippingly tender and gorgeous. Then you remove
bit like myself.
Bit like yourself. Then you remove the lemons and reduce it down till it goes sort of jammy. Right, OK, so now, James, what we're going to do is we're going to prepare this. So if you want to do one with me, we're just going to... If only I could open the bag.
I'll open it. You take that one.
OK. So what we're going to do is, normally you would put... they're very quiet, aren't they?
Sage.
Are they feeling all right?
Well,
sage.
Burley's thinking for his bar menu that he's about to, you know...
if you
wet pub at the moment, but he's thinking, I might give this a go. But...
Actually, this dish is from Rome, but apparently originally from the outskirts of Rome.
So if you didn't want to do the single-use plastic, I know the plastic bag works.
You could do it with paper,
You could do it with greaseproof
paper.
Yeah,
you could do it with greaseproof. So now, what we're going to do is just take the ham and just wrap it over like that. And if you do that one, beautiful. I normally say 2 to 3 slices, depending on how big you've got your chicken, really.
Yeah.
I'm just going to wash my hands now, just very, very quickly.
It looks super tasty already.
What's that, darling?
It looks super tasty already.
Yeah, and it's really, really, really simple. You do need olive oil and butter.
I never asked you this all the time I've known you. Did you ever get the urge to have a restaurant and do your restaurants?
Do you know, we tried it out years ago, me and my sister, who's also a chef.
Yeah.
Do you know Richmond?
I do know Richmond.
OK, there used to be a... is there a tiny bit more just for this bit here? There used to be a place called Mrs. Beaton's on the hill. So we hired it for 6 months and played restaurants. And at the end of the 6 months...
Put you off for the rest of your life.
No thanks. And I went back into teaching. But it was a really good thing to do because... So you put it neat side down, brilliant.
Yeah.
And you just want to get that a really gorgeous colour. I'm just going to wash my hands and then I'll season nicely.
Where does the teaching idea from...
I think when I worked for Prue Leith in a restaurant and then I went travelling, when I came back, I started working for Caroline Waldegrave, and she was writing a book at the time on healthy eating, and she was running the Elise Cookery School. And I was a bit of a young punk then, and I was too young, really, for the job, so I went off and did a bit more travelling. And when I came back, they were looking for a young junior teacher, and I was young and junior, and I got the job. And I stayed there for about 8 years, and I have to say it was probably one of the happiest times.
Is that what got you into television in the first place? I never asked you that either, really.
No, because while I was there, cable TV started, and they were looking for a young punky cook, and I was young and punky, and we had to then... I had to go and cook in this tiny studio in Shaftesbury Avenue, where the ceilings were so low I had to cook sitting down.
Oh my goodness!
Really...
They were low ceilings.
They were low ceilings. I need something just to pour this excess fat in.
Sounds
that
like
would
one of
be
those
great.
old Shaftesbury Road joints that used to be something else in the
don't
evening.
throw this excess fat away, because I'm going to put that in the polenta in a minute. All right? But I do remember my first day on cooking, and the director looked a bit like John Cleese. I'm going to put in some masala now. If you haven't got masala, a medium sherry or even a Fino sherry. Yes, just a little bit, darling.
You tell me how much.
So you were young and punky. Aren't punks supposed to be a wee bit angry and a wee bit sort of rebellious?
I was a nice punk.
I can just imagine you were like the happiest, smiliest, most vivacious punk, gorgeous punk on the planet, you know?
You're very nice. So
Right,
this
so what
is
have we got
now
here,
going
then?
to cook.
So you want
for a
that
bit.
gently simmering away now?
Simmering away. Now, we're going to do wet polenta. Wooden spoon. And what you're going to do, this is stock. Polenta is cornmeal. We're going to do wet polenta, but I'm also going to talk about grilling polenta as well. OK, so rein it in slow, baby. OK, off you go. OK, so keep stirring. I'm using just a chicken stock. You could use vegetable stock. In some parts of it, you can just use water.
Because they finish it with loads of parmesan, don't they?
They do, and that's what we're going to do. And I think we might be there, darling heart. OK, let's just have a little look.
I mean, anything that uses that
Maybe
much
just
cheese.
a touch more. I don't want it too thick. I reckon that is about there. Oh, brilliant. Well, my recipes do work. It's such a relief. Right, big dollop of butter, your
I was
favourite...
queuing up for that one, but it does take quite a lot of butter, this, doesn't it? So
Yeah, oh, more than that.
I know, I was going to say more than that, yeah.
In a way, you know,
lovely.
you had a head start on us traditional chefs for your telly career, because to a certain extent, when you're in a cookery school, you're kind of presenting already, are you? Did you feel that?
Yeah,
Was it similar?
It did actually really, really help. And we had loads of guest chefs come into the cook school. And so I was just so lucky to... It's very good for you, this, by the way, OK? But you do need to season it, because you wouldn't have pasta with nothing on it. It's the same with polenta.
Well, you mentioned the grilling part of it. This is when you just leave it and then grill it if you wanted to go cold?
Yeah, well, I always make too much, because I'm going to show you the reason why I always make too much. So what we're going to do now is just finish it off with loads of spinach. The other cheese I use is dolce latte in there, which is really, really beautiful.
You get the dolce latte torta, which is the layer of... Is it mascarpone, I think they put in?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never liked that, but dolce latte on its own, yeah.
That's your
fine
thing, is it?
cheese,
Yeah.
Fine cheese, yeah, it really is.
OK, I'm going to use up this little bit of wild garlic here. The chicken should nearly be done. What you can do if you want to is you can finish it off in the oven while you make the sauce.
Right.
Which I think we might do, actually, if we can just pop that onto
Pop it onto a tray, yeah.
Pop it onto a tray. Here, mate, I've got one there.
That's all right, I'll do that.
And I'll do that, and I'll season this and just make sure that I'm happy with that. I'm just going to take that off the heat
So
now.
the chicken we're just going to pop in there and just flush it back in the oven. Meanwhile, you want this sauce... You're going to bring this sauce down?
Yeah, I'm just going to reduce the sauce down a little bit, OK? So we're almost ready to serve. So let's now look at those peppers, and we can just heat them slightly, that have just cooked down. You want to remove the lemon now, because it's kind of done its job. So we're almost there. Listen, once you've made this
I'm loving this,
jam...
by the way.
Yeah, I got that in France, actually. I'm going to do a big serving of it. Here we are.
So the polenta, so like you were saying with the polenta, you just allow this to go cold on a tray.
Yeah.
And then you can either pan fry it or grill it.
You can grill it the next day, put it in a griddle pan. I often have it with roasted vegetables, which is really, really nice.
On the barbecue is lovely as well.
On the barbecue is really, really lovely. Right, let's have a look. Oh, that's perfect.
Happy with that?
You're good at this, aren't you?
Well, trying. Do you want that in here?
Hang on a second. Let's just have a little look at this, which I think is almost there. If you could just move that off, I just want to get this sauce reduced. Sorry. And that needs to go on really nice and high. Let's just have a look at this. Oh!
It's perfect.
Tile, yeah, absolutely. It's perfect. Absolutely. I'm just going to finish that off there. Thank you, my darling.
It's perfect like that. It's lovely.
Yeah, lovely. And just...
Leave it on there.
Yep. Yeah, I'm happy with that.
Perfect.
Lovely, lovely, lovely. Have we got big spoons? Yes, yes, yes. Right, lovely. OK, so to serve up, this is what we're going to do. We're going to take that wet polenta like that.
Looks good, that, doesn't it? You have to season it properly, though, don't you?
You have to season it properly.
Yeah.
Can you whack that on really high, darling heart? OK, good. And then we've got our lovely... Thank you.
There you go.
Hope you're hungry, boys.
Yeah.
Looks
So,
amazing.
say if I had cut that chicken and it wasn't cooked, all you do is what I did there was just pop it back in to the pan.
It's only going to take 4 or 5 minutes anyway, isn't it, when you flat it all out nice and thin.
Yeah.
Like I say, wild garlic, sage instead?
Yeah, sage is really beautiful, or wild garlic. And then just to finish off, what I'm going to do is just take this pepper... Oh, you're brilliant. Take this pepper jam, which isn't traditional with this, but I'm going to do it. What the hell? Over the top.
That's not ready for you.
And just check I'm happy with seasoning.
I'll put the balsamic in it. Happy?
Very happy. Spoon that.
We're like a couple of Labradors here.
Chicken, bacon, huge amounts of cheese and butter.
That looks amazing, though.
What's
Give us the name of this dish.
Chicken saltimbocca with wet spinach polenta and pepper jam.
How good does that look? Leslie, everybody. Right, bon appetit, gentlemen.
Woof.
Yeah, look at that.
Indeed.
All in a bowl together.
Proper
I've got a
food.
little bit of chicken over here. So this is the enjoyment, isn't it, when you stand back and watch everybody enjoy
Wow,
it?
lovely. Yeah. OK. I like polenta now.
You kept that quiet, they didn't like it.
Get it with all the bit.
You know, there's a subtlety to it, yet the flavours are big at the same time. I mean, that's quite a skill, actually.
Happy with that?
Oh, more
Really
than
good fun.
Fantastic dish. There we have it. Leslie Waters, everybody. Right, we've still got time for one more final course of roast brill on the bone for all my guests. I'll see you after the break. Welcome back. Sadly, it's the last part of the show. But I'm back in the kitchen with all my guests. Paul, Leslie, Merlin, and, of course, Lucrezia. And for this one, I thought I'd do something really special because we've got all the seasonality of ingredients as well. So we've got amazing asparagus, we've got amazing wild garlic, Jersey roll potatoes, fantastic, and some beautiful line-caught brill. So you can grab me a little bit of the veg oil there, first of all. That's going to go into the pan. And then I'm going to take some butter and we're going to cook this really, really simply. Just going to roast it off in the pan like that. Meanwhile, Chefy over here has got some Jersey rolls over here. We're then going to drain those off, chop them all up, and they're going to work. So when you've got fish like this, I think cooking it on the bone, I don't know about you, Mr. Rankin and Leslie and Chico, but I think on the bone is
I mean, on the bone would be my favourite, but you can understand how some people can't quite handle that. It's a bit too much for some people. You're probably used to that because of your Italian background.
I can take it.
Yeah.
I can take it anyway. That looks amazing.
But roasted on the bone, absolutely delicious.
It just tastes so much better when it's cooked on the bone.
I think so.
Saumonier, you know, classic.
Mainly, I think it keeps the moisture, don't you think? I think more than anything else.
Yeah, and... Yeah, it's just better.
Yeah, it's just better.
It's just better.
Narrows it down, doesn't it, really? But look,
Says it all.
What I've done is I've pan-fried it on the brown side. So this is the underside, the skin. You colour it first of all, and then what we're going to do is remove this flesh off after it's cooked. So you're not going to eat this. We just peel it off and then serve it with everything else.
All right.
So the gubbins that I've had from this, there you go. So the bits and pieces that I've had from the bones that we've had left over.
He's eating the potatoes, by the way.
I've made a little stop.
He's eating them.
Were you one of those girls at school? This is a mess. He tickled me.
He's eating them. Sorry to interrupt. I just thought you wanted some left for us.
Potatoes, these are the Jersey roll potatoes. I think these are
very
I know
nice.
you love your potatoes in Ireland.
Oh, yeah. These are Irish potatoes that went to Jersey on their holidays.
But the Jersey rolls are amazing. So this sauce I've in here, I've taken the bones from the fish. So I've taken the head, the bones, the tail, the fins, all the skirt all the way around the side, and I've just basically made a stock. 15, 20 minutes, that's all it takes to cook. Fill it with cold water. You've got bay leaf, you've got peppercorns, and we've got some... a little bit of shallot in there, and this is going to create a nice little sauce, because with that I'm going to reduce this sauce down, and I'm going to make this amazing little Prosecco sauce, a little homage to Italy, why not as well? Because you're looking at your family tree, you're from all over there. You're from all over there,
yeah? I'm half Italian, I'm a quarter Irish. And I'm a little bit Ukraine, a bit Polish, a bit Spanish, and a bit French. I think that's everything, yeah.
Fabulous.
I mean, there's a serious mix.
I know.
But we talked earlier about your career. Do you get much to travel now, I suppose?
Yeah. What, on holiday?
Yeah, but for work and stuff like that, because we see you in the studio now. Is that where you
A lot of the time I am behind my little desk in the studio, in my green screen studio.
But I didn't realise this. I thought this was real behind you. It's just a green screen.
It is green. So they could really put anything going on behind me. But it means I can never wear green as well, because I disappear. So you just get that floating head thing,
like
wouldn't you? But I get to go away a little bit. I get to go away. I do some stories on assignment and things like that. And got to go and do a story in Ibiza. Which was great, you know.
Is there a nerve-wracking version with the 6 o'clock or the 10 o'clock? Is there which is the one that you must get nervous? You must get nervous.
No, I mean, look, yes and no, but mainly no, actually. Because do you get nervous doing this?
Yes and no, but maybe no.
Oh no, do you get nervous doing this?
No, because the only time I got nervous was when I did Strictly. But that's out your comfort zone as well.
Nervous when Paul Rankin.
Sometimes when I'm on.
Exactly.
Always when he's on.
Well, when you're out of your element, out of your comfort zone, right? So when I did Dancing on Ice, they were constantly saying, it must be really weird being out of your comfort zone. So I was like, oh, yes, actually, it is a bit. But I guess when you do it for this is your job and you're doing it every day, then you're not nerved. You don't have, and if you prepare and you know what you're doing and you're professional. And,
I'm like that till Lee comes on, and then it all just goes out the window, you see? Right, so the key to this really is the fish that we got in here. Look. So this is the beautiful bit of fish. So this is how you simply roast it.
Oh, wow.
Like that. And then you've got this beautiful bit of fish that you roasted on the bone.
Oh, it smells gorgeous as well.
I think that's really
Sorry,
good,
everyone at home, you can't smell
It's
this.
amazing how quick it is to cook fish in the oven as well.
Well, I think because you've got the residual heat from the pan, I think that's the key to it. Now, if you can open me the Prosecco, that would be great. Chef, if you can season that sauce and start to finish it all off, because I'm going to pop this in just in another minute in the oven.
Have you ever done it with a Prosecco sauce before? Because you normally use like white wine or something. Is this new?
No, Prosecco sauce is fine. It's just what you've got a little bit of acidity in here, which works really well with this. But I would add that right at the end. So reduce that down. I've had plenty of butter.
Just needs to come down a little bit more, I think.
So we reduce it all down to intensify the flavour of it. That's the key.
I'm going to whack a little bit more butter in, maybe.
That's all right. But either way, with this, you can make this all in advance. That's the great thing. So the thing about this. We cooked this. See, the asparagus is cooked with a tiny bit of water, a little bit of butter, and salt, pepper, and a little bit of wild garlic's gone in there at the end. But you'll be amazed at the amount of butter that goes into this sauce.
I wouldn't. I've watched this show before.
We wouldn't, James. We know you.
The French call this Monty au beurre.
That's Monty au beurre.
Yeah, sorry, maybe that was the wrong thing to say.
Yeah, I think it might.
But you know what I mean. But
there's no gluten in it, though.
Well, let's go. I can eat it. It's all.
But there's a chef that comes on the show, a guy called John Williams, who's the head chef of the Ritz. And he uses more butter than I do.
No.
Without a shadow of a doubt. Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. It's more or less equal quantities of stock to finished sauce to butter.
Well, that's a challenge.
So it is a challenge. But you get this heavily reduced thing. You can put a little bit of lemon in at the end. And then what we're going to do is then going to take this, and then this comes out.
Here we come.
I used to have a chef who used to drink this from the... We used to have little tiny sauce pots.
I mean...
And they had a little sort of... little spout on them.
Yeah.
And I'd catch him, he'd be like this.
We could do little shots.
Drinking it.
Melted butter.
Yeah, shots.
There you go. That's another one. There's a chef I know that did a cocktail once with lamb fat. Distilled lamb fat.
Ooh.
Nice.
Slightly different, but yeah.
Did you like it?
Slightly odd, but, you know.
I mean, there's precedent. You do bacon fat in bourbon for old fashions.
Heard of that? Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, bacon fat washing is a lovely thing. It's sort of based around the old perfumier's idea of déglace, where you use the fats. It's a really great way of just pulling flavour out of things.
Wow.
There you go. Look, we've just got a nice little bit of fish.
He does know his stuff. Look at that, the way that peels off.
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful.
Nice little bit of fish there. And then, Chef is there with our sauce. I'll grab the plates. Guess we've got plenty of guests on today. We need plenty of plates. Chives are going to... Happy with that, Chef?
You've never had
Chives going at the last minute.
You're in for a treat.
So, plate-wise, the wild garlic as well. You can use the leaves, you can use the flowers. It's entirely up to you. But then we're going to grab our nice little bit of asparagus.
Juicy bit of fish, isn't it?
You like the big spoon, don't you?
He's a big spoon boy.
I'm going to do it refined, but he's just putting a bucket on it, look.
I'm just amazed there are any potatoes left.
Actually.
But look at that. A few bits of asparagus on there, like that. And then we've got our lovely bit of fish. Roasted bit of fish. Thank you very much, Chief.
So good.
Well,
And then the sauce.
Silent anticipation of trying this.
A little spoon over the top. So this is
it looks so
Prosecco
innocent.
in at the end. Sauce over the top like that.
That's
Together.
good, classic, old-fashioned.
That is classic, eh?
I mean, that's...
But classic-
A lot of young chefs would think, oh, that's not a Michelin star dish. That's
Oh, yeah.
absolutely
Yeah,
a Michelin
yeah,
star
yeah.
dish. That's the real deal, this
Look
stuff.
at his
This is the real
It's not a Michelin star portion, though, which I'm appreciating.
You're at my house, it's a portion. But there we have it, ladies and gents. Leave it there, Chef. There you go. There you have it. My roast brill on the bone with Jersey roll potatoes, asparagus, and a topic of conversation that I've got no idea what it involved. But there we have it. Done. Right, Chrissy, you got to dive into that one.
Thank you.
There we have it.
And it's a very overused system, but this is what I would call our name. I would say this is proper food.
Proper food.
Proper food, you know?
Proper grub.
When you get fish on the bone like that and simply cook it. Grilled turbot halibut. It's interesting when you work as a chef in a restaurant. You can tell the foodies by what they order. And I always think you can spot a chef in the restaurant by what they're ordering. You know what I mean? And if there's ever that on the menu, then that's.
And honestly, when you
Don't
see
like it?
You don't like
I
it.
don't like it.
when you see the colour on the edge of that
Look
you've
at
got.
the
Gorgeous.
juiciness of that fish.
So juicy. That is
Quality
the word.
of produce, simply cooked, easy as that.
See us, we're amazing chefs. See us too.
I see you. I see you.
You're all right. You're all right.
But that's it. That's all we've got time for today. Massive thank you to all my guests, to Edwin and Kent for those amazing nuts earlier on in the show, Merlin, Paul, Leslie, and of course the one and only Lucrezia Millarini. See you here at the same time next Saturday morning. We're joined by friends of the show, Richard Corrigan, Nick Nairn, and singer Gabrielle will be here. Until then, thanks for watching. Have a great weekend. See you at my house next week. Bye for now.
Bye. Cheers.
Ramona's Heavenly Hummus sponsors James Martin's Saturday morning.